Hi everyone, I'm Peter Teloniatis, physiotherapist here. So we're going to be demonstrating some exercises to improve mid-back mobility. The mid-back is an interesting part of the spine that requires a lot more rotation rather than flexion and extension. But we're just going to go through some movements that would facilitate a little more range of motion and all flexion, extension, and rotation. So we're going to start off with the cat stretch. Cat stretch is one where we have our hands and so we have our knees below our hips, hands below our shoulders, and we're going to be creating a arch in our spine, holding that position for 10 seconds. And then in the opposite effect, we're going to be creating what we call a camel hump, where we kind of arch our spine the other opposite direction. And then you can sequence this with your breathing, so that would kind of go hand in hand with your ribs. And you want to inhale as you arch into the camel hump, and exhale as you go into the cat stretch. And you want to repeat 10 times here. It'd be sufficient to hold the stretch for the duration of your breath. So whether it's exhaling as you go into the cat stretch or inhaling as you go into the camel hump. And if you were to repeat alternating 10 repetitions of 10-second holds, this would be quite helpful. The next thing you would want to focus on is rotation. And rotation is one that you can work on, again, 4-point kneeling again. So I call this threading the needle, where you're supporting yourself from 3 points of contact and one hand is sliding through the opposite, underneath the other underarm. So in conjunction with that, you want to be exhaling as you're reaching through to kind of coincide with the way that the ribs go and how we're creating compression in the ribs. So it looks like this. And holding it for the duration of your exhalation. And from there, come back to the starting position. And reaching as far out as possible. You'll note that my elbow is staying straight. I'm not really kind of arching too far back, and my other hand is staying in contact with the ground. And I would want to repeat this 10 times. And of course, doing it on the other side would be helpful as well. Making sure that we're keeping symmetry. And repeating that 10 times on that side, coordinating our breath. The other thing you want to focus on, so what that does is it actually encourages what we call unilateral rotation, or same side rotation. So if I have a restriction with left rotation, this would help to kind of facilitate that left rotation. Likewise, right rotation restriction, I would kind of work on this right rotation restriction. If I'm looking to complement that with another type of movement, I would focus on having my hand behind my head. And then again, if I'm trying to work on left rotation, I'm going to have my hand behind my head. And then I'm going to be encouraging that left rotation here. So I'm just trying to get in there so you can kind of see. And I can coordinate my breath so that it actually coincides with the rotation. I would want to inhale as I rotate, and inhale as I go down. And I repeat 10 times on this side, and 10 times on the other side, where I kind of had my hand behind my head. And oftentimes what we work on is also a little bit of trunk flexibility with side flexion. You can work on a little bit of side flexion through a child's pose and modifying it to bias one side. If I'm looking to address the right side of my right flank or the right latissimus dorsi, I can kind of go into the child's pose, which is basically kind of hip flexion and knee flexion, reaching far forward and reaching as far forward as possible, but then drifting my hands to the left. So then kind of trickling my hands to the left, and where you will feel the stretches along the right hand side of your flank there. And again, you can hold this stretch, this myofascial stretch, for 30 seconds. Repeat 3 times. You can do this 3 times daily, focusing on kind of breathing through this action. And then coming back to neutral and repeating the same thing to the side. Trying to reach out as far as possible. 3 sets of 30 seconds, 3 times daily.